In order to understand generational cultures, I try to keep up with the latest in technology, social media, and learning. I do this through popular media, occasionally watching shows that I know the younger generations watch, like TMZ for example, social media, having a strong presence on Facebook and Twitter, and friending and following my younger family members and their friends, and by reading, for example, keeping up on the latest technology blogs. I also pay attention to my friends and family who are from a variety of generations, such as my siblings who are 20 years older than I, my parents and aunts and uncles who are 40 years older than I, and my nieces and nephews who are 10 years younger than I. I have found that keeping up with the latest news, information, and even gossip keeps me connected to the younger generations, while my contacts with people my age and older helps keep me connected to the more mature generations. I adjust my e-learning design to best make learning meaningful for all generations through a differentiated approach. I make sure that each lesson or training module that I design includes a variety of learning methods and tools. For example, in one lesson, I might combine traditional lecture with video, audio, a game created in Flash, and a competitive yet friendly team building activity. I've found that learners from all generations benefit from this variety of methods in a given lesson or course.
It is my goal as a designer to make a student not feel that a course was designed with someone else in mind. The students for whom my classes are intended range from 11th grade dual enrollment students to those in post-retirement. There are many articles and blog posts that attempt to define people born during different time periods. However, rather than getting caught up in the argument about which is most correct, it is important to simply understand that a person's culture, including generational culture, impacts who they are and how they learn. To design a class that makes learning meaningful for all students means that it is personal, relevant, and avoids stereotypes. Regardless of age, students feel empowered when they are addressed personally, know that their perspective of the world is valued, and have choices regarding coursework. It is important to include points of communication between instructor and student throughout the course. A welcome email, periodic "how's it going" emails, personalized feedback on assignments, and a sense of an open door for the student to ask questions and begin discussion. I must design a course so that the student, regardless of age, meets the course competencies, and more specifically each lesson's objectives. It is certainly possible to build practice activities and assessments that allow for students to provide their own views on the world. In fact, when an instructor sees the connection that a student, young or old, is making between a concept and a lesson to their own life, it makes it easier to judge how well the student is learning, as well as to provide a context for clarification, feedback, and even enrichment. There are many stereotypes that can impede good instructional design. Here are just a few examples that I keep in mind related to generational cultures to avoid falling into stereotype traps. A person's age does not tell me how tech-savvy a student is. It is based on their exposure to technology itself. I need to find out what that is and fill in the gap when necessary. A retired person can build an avatar for an assignment just as easily as a high school student can. They both simply need to have the necessary technology and someone to teach them. Designing with other variables in mind helps to minimize the differences that may be present across multiple generations. I try to consider other factors such as gender, socioeconomic, location, the workplace, and other variables. It's not about how one generation can handle information compared to how another can. It's about what is the best way for anyone today to create, find, and use information. Technology does not evolve for a particular generation of learner. Technology evolves based on the overall needs of those who use it. It's important to remember that you do not have to be generational neutral. In fact, sometimes it's impossible. Just remember that when you use Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire," a reference to the British invasion, or a modern comparison of the Red Scare in your lessons, that you simply provide enough peripheral information so that students get it within the context that you intend.
One way I try to understand generational cultures is to know the different learning styles, whether it be baby boomers and establishing that relationship with examples of personal experiences, or relating the topic or concept with that experience, having it more self-paced. With Generation X or younger learners, we tend to offer more options and let the learner choose learning objects with interactive games, flash drag and drop concepts, and more visuals, having it at a faster pace. I think one important element to e-learning design is knowing your audience. Try to personalize and base your design on that. If you have mixed generations, then it is important to include a variety of learning objects to engage everyone.